Next one. Be sober. That's calm and collected. But also be vigilant. That's cautiously active. Bring those two together. Why? Because you're in a legal case and your opponent is the devil. Here's the Greek. Diabolos. The Spanish call him Diablo. That's what Diablo is, if you ever heard that in Spanish. The devil. But what does it mean in the Greek? False accuser. It's not a pointed tail, horns, and a pitchfork with a little red cape, laughing, sitting on your shoulder, trying to get you to do wrong. He's a false accuser. Why is that important for you to understand that you're in a legal case? Because standing across the courtroom from you is your adversary, your opponent in a legal trial, who is a false accuser. That means you're on trial, falsely accused. Now, I don't want you to see the devil as this entity who's just running around this little guy sticking people with a pitchfork, because I believe he's been defeated at Calvary. So what's the adversary that's left in your life? Any voice of false accusation, and a lot of them are coming right here. Okay? A lot of them are sourced right here out of your head, out of a lifetime experience of religion and works. And you're being falsely accused of things that Jesus has paid for, but you're being told you need to pay for. And that false accusation is running you crazy. You can't be calm and collected because you're always being falsely accused in the realm of the Spirit. And what do you do instead of being calm and collected? Is we go from calm and collected to overly active. Not cautiously active, overly active. Until we're trying our best to get that lawyer who's lying about us to shut up. But we can't get him to shut up. He's a false accuser anyways. Everything coming out of his mouth's a lie. And what's coming out of his mouth, and please, here's how I want to help you to understand it's not just this little entity. When the New Testament writers wrote the word diabolos, devil, we've got it to where they were talking about a guy. Okay? We think they were talking about some guy in the spirit realm who ran around poking at you. But if they were, then it was very confusing how they used this word. Let me go show you a few usages of this in the New Testament. You ready? Look at this. John 6:70. Jesus answered the disciples. They're in the upper room. Jesus says to them, "Did I not choose you, the 12? And one of you is a diabolos. One of you is a false accuser. You're going to go out here and you're going to accuse me falsely." Next, did I give you 71? He spoke of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for it was he who would betray him, being one of the 12. He didn't speak of a little guy with a pitchfork and horns. He didn't speak of someone in the spirit realm. He spoke directly to one of the guys sitting in the room and said, "You are a diabolos. You are a false accuser." Let's use it again. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 11. Deacons' wives. Likewise, deacons, your wives must be reverent, not slanderers, temperate, faithful in all things. The translators really relaxed a word here. Did you catch it? Let me read it to you the way it would read in the Greek. Likewise, their wives must be reverent, not diabolos, temperate, faithful in all things. The Greek word for slanderers was the same word the Greeks used for devil. Now, did the apostle think that deacons' wives were devils? Well, no. But he does say, don't be like devils. Don't be diabolos. What are diabolos? False accusers. Don't be slanderers. Let's use it again. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 3. Here's what he said. Preach. Some ministers will be like in the last days. Ooh. Ready for this one? Without natural affection. Truce breakers. False accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Now what you might have missed, I'll plug it in. Watch for Greek, diabolos. They'll be without natural affection, truce breakers, diabolos, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. In the last days, they're going to be devils. Do you see that? Yeah. They're going to be devils. It's the Greek word, diabolos. So does he mean that in the last days there's going to be a whole bunch of little Satans running, little devils running around? No. Remember, your enemy's been defeated at the cross. So what's left? People accusing you falsely, you accusing you falsely, religion accusing you falsely, the law accusing you falsely. Acting as if you are guilty when you've been declared innocent. Let me give you one more. Titus chapter 2, verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they become in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. Let's plug it in. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. Not diabolos, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. Ladies in the church, don't be a devil. Now, I'm not preaching that as its own individual title. That would make for an interesting title, wouldn't it? Ladies in the church. Welcome to Midland. Ladies in the church, don't be a devil. And all the men said, no. Oh, okay. You care? Okay, hey. That was of your own free will, gentlemen. Ladies, I did not make any of them. Why'd I use this? Just want to show you again that the apostles were using the word the way it's classically defined in the Greek, false accusers. So whenever you see, be sober, be vigilant, your adversary, the devil, runs around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, I want you to realize that you're supposed to be calm and carefree, calm and collected. Carefree, because the previous verse said, cast your cares upon the Lord, for he cares for you. You cast them on the Lord because he cares for you. Calm and collected, but you're cautiously active. What are you watching out for? You're watching out for a legal opponent in a courtroom who's doing nothing but falsely accusing you all day long. And it's good if you would just submit to your own attorney. Your attorney is standing next to you. He ever liveth to make intercession for you. Now I want to close, but now that you understand the diabolos, the false accuser, you're going to be on the alert for him. You're going to be cautiously active for him. You will be, and you should be. You should be cautiously, actively watching out for false accusation in your life. Because false accusation will pull you out of being calm and collected, and it'll make you full of care. You'll go from being carefree to being careful. And once you become careful, you become stressed. And then you begin to relinquish your grace and start to grab hold of your own works. That whole chapter starts to work backwards against you. Remember, God resisted the proud, giveth grace to the humble. You start to become the proud because you go grab your cares again and you go out and try to fix them on your own, all because you listened to a liar in a courtroom who knew the precedent that you didn't and just spoke to you a lie that the judge could not confirm. He can't confirm the lies of the enemy. Let me tell you what the enemy sounds like. I'm just going to show you a couple and close. Remember this? The devil runs around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. What's he run around like? A roaring lion. Look at this. Proverbs 19 and 12. The king's wrath is like the roaring of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. What's a king's wrath sound like? Go with me on this. What's a king's wrath sound like? Roaring lion. What's your adversary running around doing? Acting like a roaring lion. Why is he roaring like a lion? Because he wants you to think that the king is angry, is mad. Do you see that? The king's wrath is like the roaring of a lion. So what's your adversary doing? He's roaring like a lion. Why? Because he wants you to think God's mad at you. This is the classic trap of your enemy. He is a false accuser who wants you constantly to be thinking that God is mad at me. God's been angry at me all day long. God's been mad at me all week. I need to get in my prayer closet and find out why heaven has been turned off about me. Why God is so upset with me. Why He is doing this in my life. Why He took this away from me. Why He doesn't want me to have good things. What is it He wants me to change? What do I need to repent of? Until we are so stressed out and freaked out, we are not calm and collected. We've already lost a case we should have won. Because we went from cautiously active to insanely active. And left our care, instead of leaving it at His feet, we grabbed it. Now we're running with it, man. Because we're scared of the king. Tell you something else. If he can get you to believe that the king is wrathful, if your roaring lion enemy can get you to believe that the king is wrathful, it will lead like dominoes falling down into a trap. You want to see where the next step, it's not the final, it's the final step we're going to take, but it's big. Once you get here, you go right back underneath that trap of religion. You fall from grace. If he can get you to believe that the king is mad, then you're always looking for the king's wrath. And here's what you'll get next. Next screen. Proverbs 16:14. As messengers of death is the king's wrath, but a wise man will appease it. As messengers of death is the king's wrath. Where else in the New Testament do you learn about a messenger or a ministry of death? 2 Corinthians chapter 3, the Apostle Paul said, the ministry of death was written and engraved on stones. What's the only thing in the Bible history that was written and engraved on stones? The 10 Commandments of the law. Now, that tells me that under the new covenant, to minister law to people is to minister death. Did you notice that the king's wrath messages death to you? So what happens if you start to believe that the king's mad at you? You go underneath a message of death. What do you go under? You go underneath the law. You go back underneath performing so the king won't be mad. I'm just going to be a loyal subject. The king's mad at me. What's the king want me to do? I'm going to go back and I'm going to live better. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do that. Instead of calm and collected, cautiously watching, casting all my cares upon him, for he cares for me. Did I give you a 15 to that, Jessica? Give me that final verse. In the light, oh, I love this. In the light of the king's face is life, and his favor is like a cloud of latter rain. Here's what you need to know that the enemy's not going to tell you because he's a false accuser. The king's face is life. Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundant. And the king's face is life. How can you be calm and collected in the midst of confrontation? The confrontation of your adversary, the false accuser. Not just some devil running around, but any accusation that's a lie against your true standing. How can you be calm and collected? Cast all of your cares on the one who cares for you. His name is Jesus.